did your tryout begin? I want somebody to give me that answer. Somebody, speak up. When you woke up this morning, what else? When you started training, young men, your tryout started when you took your first breath.
Welcome to another episode of Different Basketball Podcast. My name is Jordan Mount. Today we're joined by Brent Schuck. This is episode 8. Shout out to Kobe Bryant. Brent actually also wore number 8 this past year in Albany. Brent, man, welcome to the show.
Thank you. So I was watching a previous podcast and something came up like you were a Raiders fan. What's the deal with that?
Oh, I'm a huge Raiders fan. Are you? Oh, you're a Kansas City fan.
Hey, no niceties, no salutations. I live 10 minutes from Arrowhead Stadium. What's the deal with that?
Hey,
we have 21 of 22 returners coming back.
It doesn't matter.
I don't know who's going to mess with us, but we'll see.
It doesn't matter. The Raiders are going to be great this year. Honestly, I have no idea who's coming in there. I couldn't tell you one thing about them besides Derek Carr and John Gruden, and that's it. What? Who's your favorite player on the Chiefs? If you say Mahomes, I'm going to kick you off the show.
No, okay. I'm going to go. I mean, we got a cheetah, we got a honey badger, we got all kinds of players on the Chiefs. So
you're a real deal fan, man.
No favorite.
Yeah. I just want to tell the listeners, Brent never ever makes mistakes. I don't think I've seen you make a mistake in a game yet. Never makes mistakes
in game yet. Well,
except today when you said you're a Chiefs fan.
Later.
Yeah,
but that's literally my role.
Yeah,
I get hired to be a role guy because I do my role well. So
now the only mistake you made is you're a Chiefs fan, and that's it.
I was born into that one.
I do appreciate though you watching the past shows though. That's a lot of love right there, man.
Yeah. Carnell did a great show.
Yeah, he's good. But let's kind of get into it a little bit. You're a combine guy. You played in TBL for 2 teams. You're a combine guy. Combines are starting to get going here. So talk a little bit about TBL Combines and how those worked and how you got a contract through those.
Well, the combines are, again, the main point of exposure for guys, especially with the draft. So I believe that's in Indianapolis again this year. So that's going to be the main platform for guys to get seen in the TBL. From my personal experience, we're going to have to back it up. From my experience, Shane Gadsden played for Paul Wolpert back in Yakima in the glory CBA days. And then he went on to the Golden State Warriors. I played against him in Africa, and then I did some work with him in China. But he connected me with Paul Wolpert. So I came to Kansas City and wanted to play on my local team. That coach that year wasn't interested for whatever reason, and that's just the nature of the business. And Wolpert was. So the rest is history. I went to Yakima.
Man, that's awesome, man. Now, the Yakima Sun Kings was a team, 2 years ago. It wasn't this year. I think they may come back, they may not. But let's talk a little bit about those guys that you played with out there in Yakima. Tyler Thornton, who was a Duke point guard. Ronaldo Major, who was the all-time leading scorer in the G League. Jackson Trapp, who is having a really good career in Germany. What did you learn from those guys, and how was that experience?
Yeah, so if we're going to go down the list on all the great players that were on that roster, we're going to have to list the entire roster. I think everyone had some kind of experience, some notable experience, and some notable plays somewhere. So, but guys like Ronaldo, I learned a lot from. Not having a great college career, I didn't really have that experience in college like most guys do. Didn't get to get in the G League, so that was kind of where a lot of my education happened, and guys like the vets like Major really taught us to respect the game, and there's a lot that I could take away from them.
No, that's awesome. Do you have any good Yakima stories out there with those guys? Any crazy practices?
Oh yeah, all the time. We'll have to get that off of the air. Some of that's not really PG, but like in practices, we're always head to head. The culture is every day it was practicing to be a champion. So, those expectations were really high, and it just got heated a lot of the time.
No, that's when you get some competitors in the gym, that's what it's got to be. You're a pretty laid back guy. I'm pretty laid back too, but you got some fire underneath you, and like we talked right before we came on air, you're a different person. When you play on the floor, talk
Oh
about
yeah,
that competitiveness
different human being.
and
Mhm.
where that comes from.
There's just something primal about sport. Something tribal, and just striving and competing and battling with your tribe. It's primal. So I think there's just something in sport that we can all relate to, and guys that really dive into it and have got to play sports professionally, understand that connection that you can take away, and you build lifelong relationships that way.
Now let's talk a little bit about you played for Albany this past year. You averaged about 11 points, 5.8 rebounds. You shot 48% from the 3-point line, which is really good. How was that experience? Like obviously it's a legendary place. A little background: Albany's the place that Phil Jackson coached, Bill Musselman, George Karl, and then your head coach played for all three of those guys.
Right.
What was that like this past year?
Yeah. So I think there's something like 50 players and coaches that came through Albany, and Yakima was the same way. All the championships and just the exchange with the NBA and just the high level of play that's come through both places. It was just a great experience to be able to, like you said, play for Paul Wolpert and Derek Rowland, and they again provided me with an education that I really value especially now that I'm transitioning into coaching myself. I took a lot away from both of them.
Does Derek never not have a haircut? Every time I see him, he always has like a clean fade. He's got the Chris line with his beard.
His daughter's a fashion designer, so yeah, he gets taken care of.
I didn't know his daughter's really a fashion designer.
Yeah, so she came and did a show, and was selling some product. I think she's based out of California, but she did come up to New York, have a little show. So,
wow, that's crazy. I did not. Yeah, I really didn't know that. You learn something every day, man. Every single day. That's funny. What? Tell me something that you took away from Derek. He's a smart guy, and obviously he played for all three of those coaches that I mentioned. What's something that he preached every day that you're going to take away from take away from him and take it into your coaching career?
Yeah, well, one thing that he really had to preach on guys that year with that group of guys, because we had so much talent, so much individual talent, he had to preach that, he's up there in the all-time scoring with them, and his coaches never ran a play for him. So it was just continuity in the offense and sticking with the offense and playing hard, and buying into the team concepts was one of the big things that he preached this year, and it really helped the guys out.
What was it like this year? Obviously playing professional basketball, you don't have the college camaraderie of like, you get to know these guys, you're not with them all the time. What was it like with your teammates? Did you enjoy, the pro, style? It's because it's almost like a business. Like you don't get to like hang out with these guys all the time, right? It's almost like, okay, we're here for a job and then we leave. But, what's that relationship like, and how do you cultivate those?
Mm-hmm. So especially at TBL, it's a shorter league. So I usually do 2 in a year if I can. TBL is usually my winter league. But these guys that were in Albany, I already knew them from my days when I was playing in Yakima. They always met us in the finals every year. And so I already had a good relationship with some of those guys. And that really gave us a head start, going into that year with Albany.
No, that's good, man. What was Shadell Millinghouse? I really like him, man. I'm hopefully gonna get him on the pod at some point. But he was a beast. Talk about is he one of I think he's like one of the better players in the league at the moment. And he's got like this like bulldog mentality. What is he like in practice? What is he like in everyday life?
Yeah, so he's what I would call a gamer. He was actually my roommate or my apartment mate in Albany, and he was like myself, just kind of laid back and did his own thing. And then once the lights went on and the whistle's blown, he's all out and he can do anything. He can play 1 through 5. Like with how scrappy he is, he can box out and rebound with anybody. So He was just kind of a do-it-all guy, and coach really relied on him late in the games to put the ball in his hand and let him go to work. And he provided a lot of the time, so he was definitely a gamer.
And what do you feel like your role is? Obviously your career is over, but each team that you played on, did you feel like you had a specific role? Obviously this year you were a guy that was filling in and doing some different things, and just was there a play called for you at all this past year?
So my role, well, again, let's back up. So I played 23 game minutes in the NCAA cumulatively. So with that, I kind of had a lot of time to, watch and observe and reflect on my game. And I got to understand that I had to build a brand for myself. You can't be, a decent shooter and a decent passer and a decent this and that. You have to know what you do, and you have to emphasize that in your training and your game so that your brand is known. People know what you are and what you do. So over time, I developed into, again, my role as a guy that gets the ball where it's supposed to go, don't make a lot of silly mistakes, and knock it down when I shoot it. So that's the role that I did, and it took me places. So.
I think that's an important point to bring up because I think that's a great thing to tell pros, and a great advice to give people, because you can't be mediocre at everything and then expect to get a contract, right? Like you have to be good at one or two things. You only get one or two superpowers, right? It's quote unquote superpowers. Either you can really shoot, maybe you can really pass, or you can shoot, you play defense, or you can rebound and play defense, or whatever that may, you get the ball up the floor. Like, why would you be in a game? And I think a lot of guys, especially younger kids, high school, maybe even college, fail to realize that, just because you're good, like across the board, but maybe you're just mediocre at everything, but you're just really athletic, you get to that next level and it's like, what exactly can you do? You know what I mean?
If you're young and great at multiple things, odds are you're league bound or, high major D1 bound. If you're not, you really need to find, what your skills are, and that's going to take you the farthest and do the most for you.
Yeah, I agree. I think I may have mentioned it on the show before, but I got a scholarship because I could shoot. I may have taken like 5 dribbles total in my whole entire, college career. Now I didn't play a ton of minutes, but that's a separate issue, right? But that
was the thing that Clay did. He had all those points in that short amount of time with something like 8 dribbles or something like that. So that's a skill.
Yeah, I'm not that good, man. I'm maybe pickup ball, but I'm not that good. But let's talk a little bit about your college career. Where you started, where you finished, how the 23 minutes were, then how you became a pro.
Yeah, so I grew up overseas in the military communities, so in the Department of Defense dependent school system. So I think, I lived in Japan for 6 years, and I think our high school had, maybe 80 kids in it. So, my class was really small. I was, like the number 4 cross-country runner in the whole Pacific for the Dodd school system. So I was a better runner than a basketball player growing up, and then I just kind of developed the jump shot over time. But I went from the smallest school in the military communities overseas in Japan, and I moved to Ramstein, Germany for high school. And that was the biggest school. NATO headquarters are there on base. And, it was a large school, probably equivalent to maybe like a 3A or 4A school in the States. So I went from being an average fish in a small pond to an average fish in a big pond. And just the competition really wasn't there, I guess. Maybe I was just always behind the curve in development. I came stateside and, got picked up for junior college and was too skinny, too slow, not strong enough, and just wasn't skilled enough. So I was always kind of behind the curve growing up in college. And then, after I graduated, I went over to China just to do business. I wasn't even playing at that time. And, I got some opportunities, and a special status that I had in Germany growing up playing youth ball granted me localized status in Germany. So I played as a non-American. So that's kind of, getting overseas, that's one of the hurdles you have to cross, is competing with other Americans. There's limited spots in overseas leagues, depending on which league it is. It could be 1 American per team, 2 on the court at a time, or 5 on the court, again, depending on where you're playing. So in Germany, that's one of the big hurdles, is competing with other Americans. And I had that special status. So I got my start playing in Germany, and I finally got in and moved up and moved around from there.
Now, what league were you in Germany? I actually have a few buddies that played over, and I couldn't tell you the team. You know, I know that like DJ Johnson. So DJ is he came over and trained with me, and not with me, but I trained with him. You know, he's a pro guy. He played in Germany, and then you know, Jordan Hulls, who played at IU, played in Germany, played in that same kind of league with DJ. What league was that with? Did you play in?
I'll get there in a second. DJ, is he in Italy by chance? Is that the same DJ?
I'm pretty sure it is, yeah.
Okay. I know him from Kansas State, I think. I'll
No.
talk to you.
Yeah, I think he so DJ is actually German. So I don't think I don't think we're talking about the same one. I think he still may be on that same German team. He's good though.
Okay. We'll chat after about him.
Yeah.
So I played most recently with Schwelm. They're a really famous soccer club, and then they pay for their basketball club with the soccer team. Right now, I think they're still Pro B. But Jackson Trapp is nearby there. His team was near Schwelm, and they're Pro A. And they have 5 Americans allowed in Pro A. And, you know, his team was pretty good. They did pretty good. I think he smashed some 3-point records this year, unsurprisingly. I think he'll be going back there again this year as well.
Who's a better shooter, you or Trapp?
Oh, man.
I'm putting you on blast here. I highly doubt it.
He's a better shooter. I'll give it to him.
Oh, come on, man. He's not even gonna watch the show. You gotta go take some credit. You could shoot.
I'll give it to him, but I can back him down. I can take him in the paint. So.
I send this to him.
I know,
you got to still talk to him. You got to send this to him. Maybe we have a little.
That's my guy.
Let's kind of transition a little bit, man. Let's talk speed round here.
Okay.
Okay.
There you go.
So you have 1 whole minute. We're gonna get it on this way. You got 1 whole minute. Okay. You can answer as many questions as you can. I got burned for like asking the home fries or hash browns question, and so now I took that out. So you're not gonna have to answer that one, but we're just gonna see how far you can get. I think the record's 22. Okay.
Oh my gosh. Ready to go.
3, 2, 1. Here we go. Favorite music artist?
Musical artist?
Yeah.
Oh, geez. Florida Georgia Line.
Favorite movie?
Man. Pass. Too many.
Favorite color?
Blue.
Favorite superhero?
Green Lantern.
Favorite athlete?
Dirk.
Favorite hobby?
Hobby? Camping.
Favorite song to sing?
Hail Delilah.
Favorite song to listen to?
Hail Delilah.
What's your hidden talent?
Probably go with kayaking, actually.
Favorite board game?
Risk.
Yeah, 3 seconds. Favorite meal? 3, 2,
Chinese.
1. Oh, it's not bad. You got 10. That's
all right,
not
solid.
Bad. That's not bad. Now I'm gonna hate on you a little bit for saying Green Lantern as your favorite superhero, but
okay, who you got?
That's Iron Man all the way, or Batman maybe. I'm gonna say Iron Man probably. I'm locking that in. Iron Man.
Can't argue with that.
Can't argue that. Well, Brent, man, I really appreciate you coming on the show. I think that was great. Let's talk a little bit. Combines are going to start to get going. You have any advice for any of the guys that are coming in?
Yeah, do your homework. Know who you're coming in against. Know your strengths. Know how to hide your weaknesses, and network. Get a hold of who you need to talk to, and definitely come in shape. That's going to stand out. We're going to see with universities who had the COVID lag and who got that work in during COVID. So it'll be interesting to see who's in shape.
That's good advice, man. I want to thank all the listeners that came on the show today and tuned in. We're excited. The 7 Energy Combine Series is going to start off here soon. Go get registered at thebasketballleague.net. Looking forward to seeing everybody. I'm going to be out there. Thanks again, and I really appreciate all the support.